Hello, everyone. And what?
That was the full screen. That was a good start. I'm excited.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream where we attempt to write compose code. This time we don't have to write it ourselves. Is going to be the twist for and the topic for today. I just realized we definitely don't have a title set.
It's true.
Nah, it's kind of okay. So the title was Coding the KotlinConf 2025 app with Compose Hot Reload, which is accurate. And now I'm gonna edit into it so that it also says and the Junie, because that's what we're gonna have a look at today. I think we should start with a quick recap of what Junie is. What do you think?
I think that'd be amazing.
Okay.
So tell me, Martin.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna be like that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I can talk about it. It's probably the technology and the thing that we're building at JetBrains that I'm certainly the most excited about. Because it's like a bright, proper, smart AI agent that can solve tasks for you, which is really quite delightful. I had the pleasure of playing with this for a little bit now, and I keep being very amazed at the things that it does.
Yeah, I hope that will reflect on today's stream as well, and we managed to find good tasks for Junie to tackle. So yeah, this is an AI tool. It's an agentic tool, so you can give it tasks and it can do multi-step processes, and it will let you know when it thinks it's done, and then you can iterate with it and kind of have a back and forth conversation as you're going through stuff. We could look at all of this, but we'll see it in the IDE in a moment anyway. And importantly, the state of Junie is that it's in early access, so we have a waitlist that you can sign up for. What are we
Very
gonna
much recommend getting on that one again, like
very soon, because there is interest.
It's always hard. I always need to catch myself a little bit, trying not to, start with all the big words and trying to describe things when I realize that we have a visual medium right here where we can just show things. But I'm very excited. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. There we go. So, when we last left off, I have no idea what the state of this app was, but we are progressing very well in the meantime, both on and off stream. If we take a look at the current state, you can see that we have a bunch of screens implemented. Some of them have placeholder data and things like that still, but generally a lot of things do work. We have all of these wonderful screens with the documents. We have some screens that are still placeholders. They're like on active PRs that are being reviewed. The schedule is also in progress. It looks very good, but this is actually maybe half implemented at the moment. And we have nice things in the app like settings. So we can, for example, check that out. Hope this translates well to stream. We can switch the theme between light and dark theme dynamically.
With a really gorgeous transition at that.
Thank you. So, we were talking before the stream of what we could give to Junie as tasks. And we had a couple different things. So one of the topics is that we have a screen that is just plain missing so far. It doesn't even have an entry point in the app. We haven't, previously for the other screens, we had mocked empty placeholders at least. We have a screen that doesn't even have an entry point at the moment. So we could give that to Junie, describe it vaguely, and see what it does. We also should improve the code quality a bunch, because if we take a look at, and here's the part where I'm going to struggle with fitting everything on this screen. If we take a look at something like the nav host here, which contains our navigation graph, and I realize that we're blocking out some of this. Sorry, I'm just rethinking my stream layout. We really can't be in the bottom left corner, can we? This is not gonna do it. We're gonna hop over to the other corner. That's what we're gonna do. Okay. So we have this nav host, which is the entry point into most of the screens. It does the top level routing within the app. And we have a service here, which is this essentially singleton, which I'm pretty sure we're just creating kind of manually. Yeah, like here in the root of the application. So some nice code quality and architectural improvement would be making sure that we are not just passing in this service as a parameter to all of the screens and things like that, but instead of that, we have view models that the screens use, and those view models could be injected with this service. So that's quite a bit of work. It's across almost all the screens. So that could be something interesting to do.
I did also see, just while you were clicking through, that there is at least one screen that definitely needs a little bit of love. I think was it a speaker screen? Yeah.
Yeah, this speaker list
is also
is definitely a placeholder. I think this one is on a PR. Yes.
Oh,
so
okay.
The speaker list is on an active PR. As is the half complete schedule screen, which we have in the current branch that we're on. One other screen that's missing is the detail screen for individual talks. So that's something we could do. And again, I mentioned that there's a screen that doesn't even have an entry point or a mock or anything, and that would be the news feed. So if we take a look at Figma here, the news feed is essentially two screens. It's a feed and an individual news page. So the feed has news items like these. They kind of pictures. And
oh, that's me. Sorry.
That is you.
That is me.
That's Cody.
Yeah.
And that's me taking the photo of you.
Whoa, this is getting really meta.
Okay. So there's this feed. And then we have the detail page for individual news items. I can already see that we're not going to implement this part today, where we have to do date handling and figure out that something is today or not. I am not touching that. But this is two new screens that we could implement. The entry point for this would be here. So basically we just need like a new menu item within this screen, somewhere in the middle for news. So that's like 2 or 3 screens that we could kind of implement from scratch. There's the architectural improvements. And what else were we talking about? The guideline setup, right? So if you take a look at Junie, and I'll continue to struggle with the layout. I'll just move this out of the way for now. If you take a look at Junie, you can see that it's asking you to give it challenging tasks, first of all. And one of the examples is to create a guidelines.markdown file in the project and add an overview. So this file is kind of guidance for Junie, and it will read this in addition to the current task that you give it. And, it will use this to learn about the project and how development should be done within the project. I guess we can start here, right? We can just generate this using Junie and see what it does.
Sure.
Question from the chat: did I test Junie in Hungarian? Yes, I did. You can see my history here. I don't know if we have a way to clean that or not, but yes, you can just pretty much throw tasks at Junie in any language and it will figure it out. It will respond in English, but it has no problem understanding things in other languages.
I think probably it kind of makes sense a little bit to talk about what Junie looks like right now, because this is you're just running in IntelliJ here, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you just have Junie installed as a plugin, and it can just do some work. But you get this like nice little panel on the side, and I guess now that Junie starts working, we see a little bit of those inner workings. We see that there's a couple of things happening, like a planning stage, which we saw the check marks being filled in over time. And then we also see a little bit of output of what Junie's actually doing. Like, I guess when you want to write some guidelines for a project, makes sense to first take a look at all the files that are around. So that's the like terminal ls command that we saw up top, and then it did some editing. Also looked at the README apparently. So using a little bit of the information that's already there.
Which is a good bet because the README is pretty okay.
It's a pretty good overview.
So actually, okay, we'll do this in a second. I feel like we might have ended up with it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. Just bad navigation. Okay, so guidelines.md. Can we zoom out of here? I don't know if you can zoom a markdown view or I'm just covering up the UI for it. Let's just read this form. So the KotlinConf app is the official app. Yes. Key features, technical architecture, backend, frontend, compose multi-platform as we know it. We have a list of technologies, and we have some things about the project structure and the different modules. So no real guidelines per se, but it has a general overview of what's in the project.
Oh, we do have a place now where we could put some guidelines.
Yes. What I do want to try is, because we saw that it looked at the README. Let's give Junie a challenge and just like delete the README and see what happens then. Because I'm just curious. So let's get rid of the guidelines and just run the same thing again and see how Junie describes the app if there's no README.
Yeah, again, now we see the empty check marks exactly. Oh, and look at that. Now this time it's looking at the build file, entry points.
Yeah. So essentially it's realized that there's no README. So it's just going to do like, okay, let's look at the build config. Like, let's look at app.kt. That seems like a place to start. Okay.
So what do our guidelines look like now?
It's not that different. It's a cross-platform mobile app for the KotlinConf conference. The stack is indeed that. Features. Well, some of these are unnecessary highlights, but other than that, that works.
I don't know about you, but I still remember when we introduced those features. That was a pretty big deal with Compose multi-platform.
That's true. Main build configuration. Inspected the shared module, obviously. Yeah. Sounds good. So do we want to add some kind of guidance here? I didn't really have anything in mind. But this is a place where we could do that.
I feel like, I mean, you might be strongly opinionated, so that's your thing. But I feel like we could just like set Junie loose on something, and if it goes in a direction we don't like, we develop our guidelines based on that.
Let's go with that. Yeah. Okay. So, do we want to give it to one of the screens? Let's try that.
Sure.
What do you want to do? Should we do news or let's take a look at the other missing screen. The other missing screen is this talk page, essentially.
I mean, the talk page seems like a pretty good start. What's the little down arrow do for the auditorium?
It opens the map. We don't have the maps yet because they will be updated for this year, but
okay. Understood.
Oh, and there's a rating widget eventually. That's interesting.
Interesting.
Okay, this can get pretty complicated. I think we can give this a shot.
All right. Let's try.
Okay. So, how would we describe this? Again, I'm just gonna try to put all of this side by side. This does already have an entry point, I think. So if we take a look at the schedule screen, then whenever we click a session there, then we navigate to the talk details screen. And if we just look that up in the graph, we can see that that's a session. Actually, I'll just rename this to session screen immediately. And that's the placeholder, right? So right now, if we actually do this, if we navigate to one of the sessions, it just gives us 2 pieces of text on the screen.
Yeah.
So Junie, I mean, we can start very vaguely if we want. Do we just want to roll like implement session screen and see what happens?
I mean, I would assume that, you know, the shape of the data as it like runs through the app kind of informs what can be reasonably shown here, and so do the
we do have a data model here which has a bunch of different fields, and there are some pre-built components in the UI components module.
I mean, we can just have it do a first draft, and if we don't like it, we'll just roll back.
Yeah. Okay. One interesting part will be image loading, I think. That's something to watch out for here.
The most interesting parts most likely is going to be the hot reload part.
Oh, that's true. We can just leave the app up here and see if it hot reloads. Well, see when it hot reloads.
Okay. So first of all, it's we can see that Junie is kind of trying to find its way around the code base. It came up with a rough plan of what it needs to do. Back button, session, location, time info, description, speaker info, tags. That all looks like pretty much the information that you can get from like a specific session. That's kind of what you hovered over beforehand.
And now it's looking for the UI components after it's like looked at the model, so it's seeing if there's any of the pre-built things that it can use, which is good. I actually think we have very little built for this screen, so it's harder than most of them.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if it'll just do something creative about it. So it's still it's looking for components, for UI components specifically. Looking for style text, checking out if talk card is something that might make sense on this screen. We'll just see. A Junie sudo make me the app. We're not that far off. Okay, code. So what we're seeing now is Junie wrote a bunch of things, but we still have a bunch of red code in here as well.
Which Junie does know about. Like it says, oh, I'm using something experimental, and some of these things are unresolved.
So it can actually like self-correct here.
Searching for lightning. It's looking for a drawable to represent.
Well, I can see the light. I can see the lightning over in the Figma mockup right there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's it would have probably. Okay.
Okay, we're in the green, so that's a session. Can we navigate? Oh, we can navigate back. Let's see something that's maybe not a workshop. So. Here's a actually that's the same session.
That is the session.
I picked that at random, I swear. So it's showing the tags, which is I mean that's pretty good. Obviously we want the room to be a bit further down the page, but that's all right. This has the date at the top. Yeah, this is a decent start. I wonder if this is scrollable. It is. Okay.
Very nice. Can we take a look at like the actual code?
Yes. I'm gonna shuffle and close Junie for a second. I mean, it's a bunch of code, right? So scrollable column. We have a back button. That's actually an interesting bug. Sorry, there's actually an interesting bug here because I assume because of the dark mode we're not seeing the back button. So actually, I would start there. I can't see the back button in dark mode. Let's see if Junie can fix that for us. In the meantime, we can start or continue reading. So there's the back button, there's the title. We have, time and location. We have a flow row, which is, if we just squish this, you can see that those tags reflow into the new row.
That's
which
pretty
is quite
cool.
nice. And then we have all the speakers, because a session could have multiple speakers. Description. And type indicators. Oh, there's a little lighting talk thing down here with the icon. Again, we didn't provide any design guidance at all, so these are fairly reasonable. And now we have a back button, actually.
Very nice. Look at that.
Okay, so let's start guiding Junie towards the design, because this was just a completely throwaway thing. So I think we can tell Junie that the screen should have a header that says schedule on it, and this header should have the back button on its left. And yeah, I mean, let's go one thing at a time.
Good idea.
Let's see how that goes. Working. Searching. And we have a plan. Let's check if we have a header component. Very good. Modify the screen so that we have a header and a back button. And show the session title below the header. We also have test the implementation here, which I think we can preface here with KMP tests being complicated, so we most likely won't see Junie running tests. But if we were using a JVM project, Junie can actually make sure that your tests pass. So you can do very TDD-like things with Junie, as it can just run your JUnit test for you.
Okay. I have to say, I love the little color indicator next to the compose hot reload part, which kind of shows you what state the project is in, whether it's building, whether it's rebuilding, what's going on. Okay,
that's a header. Okay.
Yeah.
A bit less padding on the header and a divider below it, please. let's go with that. Okay, divider is slowly happening. I can already see a divider component, which again is a built-in thing it's something that exists in the project already, that the Junie found and started to use. I don't know if it will figure out the top padding based on my very loose description of a bit less padding. Okay, the entire screen has padding around it, apparently, because the divider also doesn't reach the side. I have no idea if the music is making it to the stream properly, but I hope it is.
It is.
It's very chill here. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where the padding is coming from. Oh, it's just 16 dps of padding on the entire screen. Is that it? Can I just remove that and... Yeah, okay, that looks good. And then... essentially for the contents below the header is where we want to add some padding. And that's a bit complicated because I should probably need to put that into a separate column. So put the contents below the header into a column, add 12 dp padding on the sides, because that's kind of the padding that we use across all of the screens.
I would have loved to see if you could have just asked to make it consistent with the rest of the app.
Sorry.
It's all good. We have plenty of time to try things here.
So as that's going, again, I think the image loading is going to be the complicated part because I think we're just missing the dependencies for it. Like if we have a look at, and I'm just gonna move this out of the way again. If we have a look at the project, I think in this module, we don't have coil set up because we're only doing image loading within the UI components module, which is separate, and we don't have a component that would load just an image on its own.
Okay, so but you're telling me that the UI components library is configured to have coil, and that there are components in there that are doing image loading one way or another.
Yes, there's no component to load a single image, but there are components that happen to contain images.
I mean, seems like you could send someone on an errand to build a component that would just load a single image.
Okay. In the meantime, the padding is fixed, so that was successful. Let's try to load an image. Let's see if we can do that. So let's say next.
You actually just out of curiosity, do you want to make like an intermediate commit so that we can kind of also see everything that's changed just in the diff window, perhaps?
Sure.
Just as an idea.
I'm gonna create a new branch, call it screens / what is this, like talk details? I'll look up the actual name later. And this can be, well, it can be anything. I'm gonna clean up the commit history anyway. Okay, so next to the.
So now, by the way, first of all, you've kind of taken a step back. You've stopped the create session screen like task that you were working on and you were following up on, because now we're doing a new thing. So we're not really interested in the specific context around this like schedule individual session screen anymore. We're like really just doing a new task right now, right?
Yes. Oh, probably we should also highlight some of the like basic UI and options of Junie here. So there's Brave mode, which we have enabled, which essentially lets Junie execute terminal commands without confirming explicitly. It doesn't do that too frequently, like for basic file edits, it doesn't need terminal commands. But we can turn Brave mode off and see if we run into a situation where it's trying to do something through the terminal, and then we'll see that like a confirmation window appears and we can explicitly let Junie execute code. All right, so on the talk details page, show the photo of the speaker on the left side with their name and title displayed next to it on the right. How is that for a prompt?
Oh, so you're not even doing the intermediate step.
What's the intermediate step?
I mean, the intermediate step is like, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like I'd point out that you're allowed to like create new components in the UI components part, perhaps, or that maybe the photo should come over the network. I don't know how much info we need. We can try it with either direction.
Oh right, I actually haven't decided like how the image loading should work. So one approach would be creating a new component in UI components, which can use coil. The other approach would be adding coil to the app as well, so to the shared module that contains the app, and then just loading it there. Actually, let's
I mean, at the very least, you can throw in that there's already some image loading code in the app.
Use coil for image loading. An example of how to set up coil and how to load images is in the UI components module. How is that?
Sure, yeah. I'm very curious. Do you know how compose hot reload deals with new dependencies?
It will probably break, yes.
I mean,
at least I'm assuming. Like we'll need a Gradle sync and things like that. I honestly don't know, but I feel like it might break. But that's all right.
I mean, for all we know, Junie might just make the change right in the UI components.
That's true. Okay, so we looked at the model to just know where the data is for the speaker. So we know where the photo details are. Now we're gonna look at the image loading and coil. We can actually see a planned step here, which is check and add coil dependency if not present. Looking at the version catalog.
A good place.
So far so good. Looking at the build script. Are we gonna make an edit?
Multi-module, multi-platform Gradle project.
By the way.
Not trivial. And of course, the absolute masterful move, better than engine, searching in project for coil. I'll be honest with you, I see a lot of myself in there. I'm pretty sure if I had to go through the same task, a lot of these steps look pretty similar.
Yeah, we joke about AI configuring Gradle sometimes, but then we look at ourselves configuring Gradle.
Yeah. I'm not joking about it. I'm saying it's not trivial. Like when I see a Gradle issue, that can be tricky at times. Okay, little edit.
We've added a list of speakers. The data model.
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, if you have multiple speakers, I guess you would probably need those.
One fun part of working in this app is that I really don't know the data models. So we I built the UI components and I built some of the screens now, but I never really looked at the data models or the service that's providing the data for actually populating the UI.
Mm-hmm.
But Junie can do that. Included the speaker details. Yeah, we're almost at the part where... Oh, okay. So now we are waiting at a terminal command, right? So it's asking for explicit approval to run a test. Session card view test. What is that? Session card view test. I am confused.
I mean, if Junie wants to try.
Well, let's do it.
Predictably short run. It does mention that the test was absent.
Again, KMP testing is definitely something that's just a bit too early for Junie at the moment. Okay, we have... Looks like there's some test data that needs to be updated to match the changes that Junie made to the model. And this is where we run into trouble because, yet again, I don't know how this part of the app works.
Ask Junie to adjust it.
Can you fix the errors in conference service? Yep. Update that property to include a new field. That's exactly the problem. Empty list. Works.
Hey.
Does this compile? It does. I'm just gonna drag it back to this screen. And we're gonna go through the onboarding. And we'll pick something that's not a workshop. Hold on.
and that's a loaded image, presumably from the network. I mean, we even saw the tiny little delay as it popped in.
That's a speaker. Okay. Do we have a talk with multiple speakers?
That's multiple speakers.
All right. Very good.
How does it do that? Not on like a metaphysical sense. More like, what does a code for that look like? How did it decide to do this?
So we added a list of speakers to the session card view as like a new field. Then we have this view.kt file. I don't know what this is. Oh, I guess this is the mapping. So it's mapping from a data model into a display model or something like that. And
okay.
It's... Yeah, so the speaker IDs were already present, and now it looked up the appropriate actual speakers from the conference object, and then it just put that into the data model. We also had this separate function to assemble like a one string description of who the speakers are, and it just removed that because it's not needed anymore.
I guess that logic just moves into the actual...
Oh, because this, yeah. So half of that was this filtering logic, and the other half was just a join to string. So because we needed this anyway for the speakers list, it figured out that, oh, this function is redundant now, and we can just clean it up and merge these things. So new property populated somewhere in the service layer, wherever that is. And then on the session screen, if the speakers is not empty, we have a column of speakers, and for displaying a single speaker, there actually is a component which loads the photo. So turns out we didn't need to bring coil into this module. So I was just wrong about that part.
You got a little outsmarted there, I feel.
You didn't have to say that. But yes.
But also, can we just briefly mention that even though we saw in the original plan that it planned on adding coil as a dependency and like figuring out a couple of other things, as it progressed through building this and looking through the code base for relevant code, it adjusted its approach. It realized that adding the dependency was no longer necessary, building something from scratch was no longer necessary, because there was just something that could be reused for this specific case.
Yep, exactly. Like I gave it wrong instructions, not on purpose, and then it corrected. We can also see that we can still like easily, obviously, edit into all of this code. If I just need to tweak some padding, we can do that. I was just looking at the vertical padding here for the little speaker elements, and I think now they're correct with 12 dps.
That looks right to my untrained eye.
We also don't need a speaker's title, so again, I could just go there and just remove that. The description also doesn't need a heading, so just like remove a line. Again, doing hot reload throughout all of this. And oh, the room name needs to be somewhere else. So we can move that to this location line. I can just take that, and that goes where? That goes below the speakers, but above the description, right? So right above the description, like here. And if we say
very convenient that it added a bunch of like comments as well for the logical sections of that composable.
Yeah, that's actually quite easy to navigate. I want to try something with the map here. So we don't have the map yet, but this location thing should be a clickable element that opens something that looks like a map. So I think we can try getting Junie to do that, because that's more than like a one-line edit that I would like that I would move around. There is a component for this. So this is called an action component, and that's what we should use. So
Why don't you throw in another commit?
Oh, sure, yes. I'm gonna call this start. For
nice.
Variety. So the name of the room on the talk page should be an action component. I'll be fairly explicit about that part. And when clicked, it should display the map below the room name. Well, let's say when toggled. We don't have the map yet, so just show a placeholder rectangle in, I don't know, blue. How about that?
Sounds good to me. We had a question in chat, which was, is the plan for Junie to be able to see designs, read them, and use that during processing? I think the sky is kind of the limit for where we want to take Junie. I don't think it's on like the super immediate roadmap, like right next door. But if those are like the things that you think are exciting, you would want to see, and I think we can quite clearly see that that would take us even like on a higher level of abstraction in this case. That would be quite useful as well.
Yeah, that would be quite nice if we could throw like some form of Figma at Junie. And also, like, again, if it were to expand the testing capabilities, like, well, I mean, you wouldn't quite want to screenshot test against Figma because we know that designs are never that accurate, but something like that would be exciting.
Yes.
So in the meantime, we found the action component. We looked at how the location is currently on the screen. We searched for some icon resources because we have composed resources in the project. And then we're apparently creating a new composable that will contain the toggleable room thing. And well, one of the steps here is to fix an import conflict because we have composed resources in multiple modules here. So the res object in two different packages exists in two different places in the project for accessing different resources, which is something that you very much can trip on, like even as a human developer. So we'll see if Junie can sort out the imports.
I see a little arrow.
I see an arrow as well. Does it point the correct direction? I think it does. Is Junie done? Not yet. I'll wait for Junie to be done before I... Oh, okay. I'm gonna click it.
It shows a map. Well,
that's a map.
A map
That's
placeholder.
Beautiful.
Did you just ask it for blue?
Yes, I said blue rectangle.
Can I just say that this is a much more gorgeous shade of blue than what I would have picked if I had just typed color.blue, which would have just been like all blue, nothing else?
Now you know what I'm gonna do. We're gonna check it out in light mode. It's a different color in light mode.
So, wow. Okay.
How?
Well, that's interesting.
Okay, let's check the diffs. So that's just the JSON data for the backend response. Let's see where that comes from. Room section has an expanded state, has an action that toggles the expanded state, has an icon rotation thing. It used arrow down. I think we have... Do I not have completion if I'm looking at this view? That's kind of strange.
Yeah, you only have that in the first view.
And this broke as well. Did I just mess up an import by editing into that? Yes, I did. Okay. So one of these was not here a moment ago when Junie was done. So I think there's some kind of down arrow that we can use, which is slightly different, like the one that matches exactly the thing in the design. Yes, that's the one. So where does the blue come from, right? Compose canvas. Let's add an import here.
Oh, it does a color.blue.copy. Okay.
Ah.
Huh?
It has alpha, which, yeah, that would adjust between light and dark mode. That's kind of fun. I'm gonna go back to dark mode before we get complaints. Okay. So we have the toggleable thing. What else do we need on this screen? Actually, this should be larger. And I think this action component has properties. Yeah, this is a large action. So we can just adjust that real quick. Action size is just large on the component. So if we do that, the text should become larger. Excellent. The tags are already correct.
In the closed state, are the paddings all right on this?
Oh, probably.
Like that auditorium 12 looks a little close to the. Yeah.
Yeah. So this has 16 dps of padding. I mean, that's like vertical 16 dps. There we go. Well, the blue rectangle is off, but you know, I guess we can move. We can probably move this padding up here. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The speaker images and descriptions are all good. We should look at the header a bit. So the tags are perfect, essentially. The date should actually be on the top. So let's fix that. That should be quite easy to move. We just grab time and location. And this would be the date, and we'll just move that above the title. And again, we can have a quick look here at paddings. So within this block, there's 12 dp gaps. So divider, we have this, that we need 12 dps in between, and then another 12 before the tags. And again, compose hot reload happening throughout the whole thing. And we have even more padding here. So we have top and bottom padding of 24 dps. I think we should wrap this into a separate section. Just like the time and the title and the tags, right?
Okay.
So surround with a column with, what is it? 24 dp vertical padding. So this now is an AI assistant invocation.
Okay. That's kind of convenient.
We are adding way too many things here. Oh no, that was already there. That's my bad. That was the lightning thing from the bottom of the screen. I think we might have moved too many things inside the column though. I think I need to like take this and drop it just below the column. Let's see if that compiles and reloads. It does. We can fiddle with the padding later, I think. One of the padding values is still off somewhere. This was the horizontal one. That was 24 on the entire thing. Oh, this. Okay. Just the title has a lot of padding on itself. Okay. That's That's looking pretty
gorgeous. But while you're still in padding mode, I think if I'm really squinting at that auditorium, I think the spacing towards the top image. If I'm looking at this, it's perfectly centered between image and text. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Yeah, there were just a bunch of spacers left over. Okay.
Is there an animation? Is there an animation on that map?
No, but there really should be, right?
I feel like there should be.
Animate the map in and out as the action is toggled. I didn't do a commit, I'm sorry. I'm committing now. Before Junie gets to make an edit.
Alright, so animate the map in and out as the action is toggled.
That's a reasonable description.
Yeah.
What's the plan? The plan is rapid and animated visibility. Good call. And it's done. I mean, yes it is.
Nice. Okay.
So, technically speaking, at this point we wouldn't have to know like how this works. That's worth noting, that we could have this working without knowing the actual Compose APIs. Like, we're obviously still gonna code review this and, you know, look at the diff and look at the changes, and especially look at this before merging our changes in. But, technically speaking, we didn't have to understand how this works. Yeah, it's just animated visibility based on whether the component is expanded.
Easy enough.
Okay, I want to fix the stop row here. So I think that can be a new Junie invocation maybe. And what I want to do is, let me align this a bit. So update the line on the speaker. Yeah, actually, let's not tell it which screen it is. So update the date so that it shows an orange lightning icon to its left for lightning talks, and add a bookmark button to the right side. How about that?
Seems pretty reasonable. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna, again, commit so that we have clean diffs to look at.
You're having fun with the little icon there, huh?
Oh yeah.
I do love the fact that it follows along. It's very it's very satisfying.
There's something mesmerizing about it.
Yeah.
Analyze the code base.
You should have a whole chain of those. Sorry.
Oh, there's an idea. Yeah. Find the appropriate locations. Implement the lighting icon logic. Implement the bookmark button. Need to check if there's existing bookmark / favorite functionality is my favorite part. The thing I found about Junie as I was building screens with it here in the app is that it's very eager to make things actually wired in. Like, it doesn't really... So when I implement a screen like this, I would mock it first, right? Like, I would just create a local state for it. I would have the click listener for something like a bookmark button just do nothing. But Junie really wants to do a complete job, and it really like wires all of these clicks straight into the service. And it did that for me several times here, again, into API calls and method calls that I didn't know existed because I never looked at the backend so far. I was building the UI, but suddenly I had a button on the screen which was actually live, and it was like favoriting something in storage, which is a very fun experience.
That's honestly like really it's quite amazing. I mean, again, I've also been playing around with this quite a while, and Junie gets very, very far when it comes to like exploring existing APIs as well, and like custom stuff that you have like laying around. It's pretty good at reusing this kind of stuff. Quick check in here, whole bunch of red code, something that Junie is fortunately aware of, so can fix. It's augmented with the information that's in the IDE. Knows that there's unresolved references and so forth.
Updating some imports, looking at bookmark stuff. Looking at this, it seems like it's editing into the top toolbar. So I think I wasn't specific enough into about like where the bookmark button should go. But honestly, I will accept something that's like a button up here in the toolbar, as long as it works.
I mean, let's see.
It might still move the button, but it looks like it's pretty intent on putting it into the top toolbar.
Yeah, it's because it's so nice, because that one already has like a bunch of like lambdas where you can put things like.
Yeah, it has a slot for that. Like it has an end content slot. It's a very natural place for that to go. Actually, if we go back to the previous screen, you'll see that there is a bookmark button there for filtering the talks. So
yeah, wait a second. So
you could argue that it's following that pattern.
Maybe it's time to go back to the designers and ask what's the deal with this inconsistency. Well, it's not particularly an inconsistency.
Well,
I guess one changes.
There's
okay,
also
yep.
these. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
One of those is for filtering. The other one is for actually favoriting a talk.
Like changing it. That makes a lot of sense. But also, maybe the add button should have like a tiny little plus on it. Anyway.
I can add you to a Slack channel.
Thank you. Very kind. Okay. Some work still remaining. Looking for how to import material icons? Perhaps?
I'm just waiting for it to hot reload.
Yeah. Good a move as any.
Okay. Fixing icon imports. Open? That's interesting. That's an interesting glitch on the UI. Again, EAP. Obviously. Looking at the header, looking at the talk card. Yeah, the talk cards are actually like very informative for this, because the style of this header is very similar to what we have on the individual cards for each talk. So that's definitely a good thing to look at for reference. Oh yeah, we just imported, or we updated the imports so that they match the imports in the other place. Very
let's take a look and just see what other tasks, like once we're done with this, what are we doing next?
Well, again, we can do the view model refactoring sort of thing, or we can start a brand new screen, which would be this like news section. This is interesting.
Tell me
we don't have
tell me more about
this
one. Do we have nothing?
We have nothing, so the backend implementation doesn't exist for this yet. Which
you don't even have a backend for it.
Yes, although the backend is part of this repo.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I mean, we're not talking to that. Like, that doesn't help us in this actual development situation, because I'm not running the backend locally. We're talking to the like running service from last year, and not to the local copy.
Okay. I mean, you could still write it against some like mocked up information.
Yeah, I think we just need to describe that news articles have, a date, a title, an optional photo with like a 50% chance looking at this feed. And and they have a text which might contain links. The links part is actually quite interesting because adding like clickable elements within a single text view is kind of...
So as part of so I'm building my own to-do list app. I know it's 2025 and I'm still out here building to-do list apps. Don't laugh. But it's actually the app that I use all the time, and it has a couple of very interesting challenges because the backend for it is Checklist, which is a checklist tool that's built by a JetBrainer, and so all of that supports like full markdown, like inline links, and all these kind of things. So I have the wonderful challenge of doing like a that's exactly it. That's exactly right. So I have the wonderful challenge of parsing all of that on my clients as well, and like trying to figure out all the multi-platform implementations for this. It took me a little bit just to wrap my head around it because I hadn't done it before. But yeah, like getting inline links and getting things that have like that open the browser, even on multiple platforms, all things you can build out, and it's not too much work. The hardest part really was the markdown parsing. I did struggle a teeny tiny bit with that, but that's just because I was unfamiliar with the actual markdown library. But yeah, once you can see it's a proper I think they call it outliner. It's not just like a to-do list app. It's a full outliner. It has like a full tree structure where each element can be parts of things. It has a tagging system in it. You can have multiple lists that can reference things, that can have back references, like all kinds of fun things that you can like tinker with. But yeah, so this is just actually something that came up maybe 2 weeks ago or so, because I wanted to introduce like a review mode for things. Still on those icons, huh?
I think we ran into a loop of some sort with the icon problem.
Well, what's it struggling with? What's the...
Okay. So the problem here is that it's trying to use a material icon as part of the content. And in the shared module, we're not using material design, right? We're using our own UI components. So the import for icons is not available.
Well, that might be something that might go in the guidelines.
Yeah.
That seems like one of the most natural things, actually.
If we look at the examples, I mean, again, this is something that I'm not sure how I would, like, which way I would solve it myself. If we look at the examples of how this might be configured, oh, there's a top menu button. So that's what we're using in place of icons, basically. So we have our own component called the top menu button. And that's kind of what we're using as an end content. So if we need a search or any like a back button or anything on the top toolbar, we would use our own little like top menu button component, which is in the UI components module. But Junie is kind of intent on using a material icon. Which again, because we're not using the material design system.
Well, so Junie stopped. So what did it stop with? There were unresolved imports. Okay. So, well, I suppose it figured out that there are some things that's kind of missing.
Yes, it figured out that it can't figure out the icon part. So
we might throw we might throw a little follow up in here.
Instead of the icon component, use the top menu button, I think. Top menu button from the UI components module that's available. Let's see if we can just replace those calls with top menu buttons.
Yeah. Anyway, just to wrap up the entire other story, lots of fun to be had with Markdown and also to-do lists. There's this mode that, you know, people always love like streaks and like doing stuff for like repeated times. So I figured why not do like a 5-minute review session each morning for like your to-do items and like prioritizing them or archiving them and being brutally honest about whether they're like still needed or whether you're probably not going to get to them, because then they should probably not clog your inbox, those kind of things. And for that, sometimes I just save a link, and if you can't click that, you're like, I cannot make a reasonable decision about what possibly to do with this.
Oh, the to-do item is just like a link to a Slack message.
Sometimes, but it might also just be like a link to like a GitHub page, and then I don't remember if this is something that I wanted
GitHub
to
issue 255. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's something I wanted to read, to review, to try out. Like, I'm missing the context. It's why you don't print out the hyperlinks.
Implement, link previews in your app.
Link previews.
Yeah.
Like a little
snippets for each link.
Oh, so you mean like the social graph style?
Yeah.
I was just thinking I'm just gonna throw like an iframe thing in there, like straight up an embedded browser.
I mean, just fetch the title even, or yeah. Title and favicon.
But then when they're
nice.
when they're Slack messages behind auth, it's not trivial.
Well, yeah, don't do that part. I wouldn't want to do that part.
All I'm saying is, if we all used a couple more iframes, some of these architectures would be a lot simpler.
And if they weren't so restricted, as I learned from your talk last week. Yeah. I do need an outliner tool, by the way, because the one that I'm using is having its student license expiring again. And I'm starting to feel bad about renewing it. So I might need to not upgrade, but migrate to another outliner. And I use it very little. That's the other thing. Like, even with the student license, like I'm kind of happy to support them. It's a nice tool, but I really don't use it. So it would probably make sense to just move to something that's probably free.
Might I recommend Checklist?
You might, yeah.
Hey, are you looking for like something to do like in your afternoons, like for that's like building a Compose multi-platform app? I have like a cool idea. I'm just gonna slyly recruit you into fixing some of the terrible code I write at 2 a.m. for my own checklist app. There's not a single view model in that one.
If you want to see terrible code that I wrote at 2 a.m., you just open the Git history here. And look at the filtering implementation.
Ah.
So I think I do already have a Compose project to work on at 2 a.m. But I appreciate the invite.
Hey. Always welcome.
So what are we doing, Junie? I think this whole icon situation is... Oh! There we go. We're getting there.
Hi.
I think the only thing missing now is probably the imports for, again, the resources, because there are multiple different resource accessors generated in the project from multiple modules, which is honestly quite annoying to deal with. But I still, that's again something that I just can't make up my mind about yet, how we should organize that, because the UI components use a lot of the icons themselves, right? So some of them must live in the UI components module.
Mm-hmm.
But then if I need the same down arrow in the shared module, should I duplicate it? Should I reach from there into the UI components resources and load that? Feels kind
tricky.
of difficult to decide. If it was a material, or well, maybe not material, but yeah, if it was something external that had happened to have resources in it, I wouldn't really want to start depending on it. That would feel weird. But now that it's within the project, it's kind of easy to depend on it. Yeah.
Okay.
But what would we do without this kind of bike shedding?
That's the real question. See, we're still doing some cross-referencing with the schedule screen.
Yeah,
We're
I
looking
think,
for
I
some
think
patterns.
we're hunting for the imports, probably. We're almost there. We have like one red import. Everything else is cool. We have some duplicates that we don't need. We can easily clean those up. But other than that, we just need like one more import. I could just edit. How do we feel about just adding the import?
I mean, might as well.
It's kind of tempting. I honestly don't know what happens with like Junie's workflow if I just start editing files in the meantime.
I mean, we're not pretending that this is like a completely like hands-off situation, right? We've made smaller changes before as well.
Oh,
So,
there we go. The exact problem I was describing. No wonder Junie can't figure it out. I can't figure it out either. So again, like this lightning icon, for example, is part of the UI components. But we should also be able to load it in the app. So for now, we have it in both of the resource folders separately. And now we can pick which import we want. But of course, that would depend on which RAS class this is. And that's the shared one, so this has to match it. So it would be this lightning icon. Do we have a build here? Not yet. Interesting. Which other file have we changed? Because this file compiles. Do we have... Oh! Okay, I crashed the app. Or did I? I think I crashed hot reload, but not the app. Or something like that.
Tricky.
I'm gonna close it and just rerun it. Ah, there we go. Yeah, no, it doesn't compile at the moment. So we have some kind of missing parameter. Did we add a new parameter? Oh, yes. We added the onFavorite parameter to the screen, but didn't fill it in. Well, let's follow that up. So fix the compilation error. Is that way too vague?
I mean, it seems pretty straightforward to me.
This is actually exactly the kind of thing that previously Junie did very proactively for me. It just like, again, like wired it through the entire app into the service.
Well, let's see. It might just still do that. I love the diligence of checking that it's not like a dependency issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, it wants to run a build. Sure, hit it. This might be way too large of a build, but we'll see what happens. It's a reasonable approach to figure out what doesn't compile. So I can see what it's going for.
Yeah.
This is also a very.
I mean, I don't think we need to wait for like the entire like build from scratch if that's what's happening here.
Yeah, across all modules and all platforms, like it's just build, right?
Yep.
So
that's okay. That's a little wide. That might have to go into the into the guidelines.
Oh.
For the future.
Okay, let's see how Junie deals with this. It's looks like it realized that we canceled this, so it's just gonna look at more files. It's just gonna pivot. What was the previous thing we wanted to?
But also in this case, I believe we have an option to just attach a file, right? If we do want to guide it to where things are broken, if we wanted to.
Oh, yeah. I think we got lost in the build configuration here.
Might be slightly in the weeds.
Okay. I'm gonna revert the changes to the catalog, and actually what we can do is just copy a specific error in there for Junie. This still doesn't have a file or a line number or anything, so it's not very specific.
But unfavored is like, it narrows the search scope.
Yeah. Again, we could be like, we could be a lot more helpful here to Junie if we wanted to. So with all of these commands, we're kind of passing
we're
intentionally vague things.
Yeah, we're keeping it intentionally a little tricky to see what happens. Because that's where the fun is, right?
Okay, now it like found the usage and it's navigated to the correct file. So it figured out where this might be used. Now it's looking for the service. Again, it loves connecting things to the service, in my experience.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at it, yeah, you can add like an empty like lambda, but is that really fixing it? That looks more like it.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, service has toggle favorite. That's good news for us,
again,
I guess.
This is the sort of thing that I just don't know is in the project, but that's fine. Because we closed this, I guess I crashed this earlier. I'm just gonna rerun the app so that we see what this looks like. Where were we? Here, right? Schedule screen. And we have a little toggle button up there. Can't really toggle it at the moment.
What it should turn like into a filled version?
I think so, but I can't tell if it's a UI problem or an implementation problem. So let's check the UI logic if it even has the ability to. Or we can again throw the vague problem at Junie. That's always an option. Why is color filter not being converted? There we go. So, sorry, that's the lightning thing on the bottom. We need the thing at the top. So, if lightning, we have a lightning icon. And where is the bookmark?
There it is.
Oh, it has a color. It's just not using that color. So it decided to use a different color for favorites. It just doesn't use it. But wait, it also uses a different drawable. So I think this is just not hitting the service, or maybe stuck state in hot reload. So we go here, we go to a session. Okay. We're not hitting something, but I don't know what it is. So...
Sorry, why are you saying that it's not toggling?
Oh, because if it toggled, there is logic here to show a different icon based on whether it's favorited.
Bookmark fill rather
so
than...
it's either filled or not. As I... Oh, wait. Now it's filled.
Is it something where this isn't observed as a state?
Yes.
Aha. Okay.
How? How did we do that? Session. Where does this come from? Session by ID. Oh, okay. This is like just a suspending function, I think. Well, not even suspending. It just finds the current value. What is session cards? That's a state flow. Should we throw Junie at it?
I mean, yeah. I'd say lock in the current state maybe with an intermediate commit, because we got something.
So How do we describe the problem here?
Well, that's the same way you would describe it to me, I'd hope. So that's not how you would describe it to me. It's more like when I click. Yeah, well, when I click the like bookmark button on the schedule screen. Is that what it's called? I hope so.
It's a talk detail screen, because the schedule screen is a different screen.
Yes. Okay. The talk detail screen. Then I don't see the icon update right away. I need to navigate back one screen and forth before I see the changes. That's that's how I'd complain about it to you.
Let's do it.
I mean, if it's the stuff you have to deal with. Look, there's the line. I just saw it. Review state management for favorites. So that part's already part of the plan.
Understand how favorites are updated and propagated.
Yeah. I mean, you can try to race Junie if you'd like.
I mean, I could, but I don't want to touch the code and like make it unnecessarily difficult. So again, the problem as we saw it is that wherever we were accessing this, so like this function just like returns the current value. So this, so this is a state flow. We grab the current value, which is a list of sessions, and then we filter for the ID. And we should really be exposing this as a flow as well. And well, essentially just like mapping the state flow into a new state flow. Just filtering it based on the ID.
Interesting.
Well,
that's
Junie
pretty.
do that?
That is pretty tricky.
We added local state management. Okay, let's see if it works. So let's try a session that's not favorited yet, like this one. Okay. How did we do it? We now have is favorite stored. We're basing it off of the session state, right? And then, yeah, I mean, as this changes, we change the color. This, by the way, is still unused. And then as we toggle the local state, and we also call into the callback so that the service is updated. I think we should follow up on this one, right?
I don't know. Are you unhappy with the solution?
Yes. Okay. Instead of
understandably so,
having the local state, make sure that we're observing the latest state from the service. This service is essentially like the magic object here that powers the entire app.
The one.
That's all I know. All knowledge is from the service.
So what's the plan?
Oh, sorry. The plan is to check the toggle implementation, see where the favorite state is coming from. See how the state is exposed. See how the screen can observe the state.
Okay.
Remove local state management is on the list. Found that state like is fun. Properly managed in conference service. I like that part. It approves of the current conference service. But we do need probably like a new getter here or something. Or we need to grab the entire list. Observe that from the screen side and then just filter for what we need.
Either might work, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we're doing. So now instead of grabbing the single session, we're gonna use whatever is observable in the service and collect from that, and then filter for the specific session that we need. We're fixing imports, stuff like that. Oh, we actually don't have access to the service here. Now we do.
We do now.
Okay. Again, like
that's interesting. Are you okay with the service being wired in here?
I mean, for now, yes. But this is one of the things that we should fix across the entire app. I think this is very, not very obvious to do, but it fits the pattern. So I think it's a reasonable thing for Junie to choose to do. Because if we take a look here...
if other screens do it as well, I feel like Junie's kind of allowed to do it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if we take a look here, we have some other screens that also take the service as a parameter here and there. The ideal setup, I think, is this, where everything is channeled back here into the navigation code, and this is where we would handle it. But that's not the reality of the app today. And for things that are not like navigation related, that are just fetching data, it would be great if all of these screens just had a view model and that had the service injected, and that's where they got their data. That's where I would like to see this end up ultimately. So this still works.
It's good.
After a bunch of reloads. And do we still have that local state? I don't see where it is.
We filter out the current session based on collector state.
This current session is favorite. Oh, I guess it was here. I guess I didn't do a commit at that point. So we don't see it being removed, but it was removed and replaced with this. Okay, yeah, I mean that actually like observes the service now. Again, it would be nicer to... I'm just gonna do that. Can we create a function
throw a quick commit in there, or
in the service that exposes
the relevant information?
Single session instead of the entire list. The relevant information is the sort of prompt that I started using when I first like had access to Junie. I kept giving it things like, okay, on the top of this schedule screen, add a switcher for the days and scroll to the appropriate position when one of them is clicked, or something like that. Like, just do the right thing.
Just do the obvious.
Do the obvious, yeah. Yep. That's a function that gives us a state flow for the given ID. It does that by filtering the list that we hold, combines it with the favorites info, which apparently we have to do. I wouldn't have known that we need to check for the separate favorites. And now we're just getting that single thing from the service, which is much cleaner. That's exactly what I wanted to see. I wonder about this favorites thing. Like, is that derived from session cards, or how does that work?
Hold on. Hold on. Go back for just a second.
Mm-hmm.
What's favorites here?
It's
wouldn't it be enough? Well, it's a mutable state flow. Wouldn't it be enough to observe this one from the composable and just check if the current thing happens to be inside that part? Because for a given screen, the session is not going to update. So there's not really a point in observing that bit.
Well, yeah,
Presumably.
we could have a function that just returns just the boolean instead of the entire session. But look, this way we're prepared for anything in the session changing.
I mean, yeah, quite frankly, if the service now updates a talk's description, it would also update. That's probably actually the correct thing to do. Yep. See, here I am already taking shortcuts for code that I didn't even write.
I am interested what happens if we just skip this like favorites handling part. So I want to remove that and just do like a completely clean run, because like right now we were merging this with info from the favorites, right? But I want to see if the sessions actually update in place or not. So what happens if we go to this session? Yeah, that works on its own. So we can actually skip the part where we merge this with the favorites set, because the sessions themselves in this list are also updated, which is good because I would really expect the service to work right like that. Again, monster service. I have not written this. I don't know what it does, but that's all right.
Okay, nice.
Okay, commit, I suppose. So we basically have this screen working. Oh, we didn't check for the lightning icons. Can we find the lightning talk here? I don't know which ones are lightning talks. There's one.
That one has a lightning on it, yeah.
Well,
Nice.
Oh, wait, this one's We can just swap those, right?
Yep.
So there's a lightning up here, and there's a lightning here on the bottom. And the bottom one we just don't need at all. That was just there from the beginning. And we can just bring that up here. Where was the first one? There it is. Just copy that here. Will that work? That looks good.
Very nice.
Wrong design. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. That looks good. Again, the icon here is up here instead of here. But that's kind of easy to fix. We can clean that up later. So one more thing that can happen here if we want to keep going with the single screen is we can try to do this feedback component.
Well, can you reasonably test that against the current state of the service you're running with?
Yes. I mean, this we can do this with just the UI. Like it doesn't really matter where the callback goes.
Okay.
The interesting part here is that this component exists. This bottom part. I don't know if it includes the toggle. I think it doesn't include the toggle, but it includes the input field and the like send button and little Cody icon on the bottom. This component on the top doesn't exist. So Junie would have to create that. I'm
Doesn't
willing
seem like it would be too tricky.
I'm willing to give this a shot. Yeah. Let's try to describe it in a reasonable way.
This one might be a tad more prose.
Okay. On the talk details screen, add a new feedback component. Where does this go? Below the tags and above the list of speakers. The feedback component should ask, how was the talk? And have 3 Cody faces that the user can choose from, like happy, neutral, sad.
Yep.
Under this, there should be a toggleable thing that
Wow, that descriptive language went out the window real quick.
That opens the text input to add more details. This text input component is in UI components. Let's try to guide Junie because I know that this part exists, the bottom part.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Plan. Analyze code base. Locate the talk detail screen. Search for existing UI components, particularly the text input component. Design and implement the feedback component with 3 Kodi faces. Add the toggleable text input thing. Position this correctly. Okay. Let's go. Let's freaking go. The most difficult part here is still using a zoomed in IntelliJ on this screen size and trying to show everything on the screen. I could have this at, well, more than 4x the size normally.
The things we do.
I hope this looks great on stream. Because otherwise...
I mean, I'm looking at it on my second monitor and it's very, very crisp.
What is throwing exceptions? Oh no, it's actually Junie. Interesting.
That's okay.
Oh, it's one of the performance checks in IntelliJ, I think.
Early access.
Oh, look. Feedback form found.
Oh, great.
That's positive. Still browsing the talk card. Found emotion enum with different states for Kodi. Found the Kodi emotion component for displaying faces. Already using animated content.
There's a Kodi emotion component.
Oh, there sure is.
Incredible.
Oh, actually, I think we can run the gallery in parallel to this because the gallery is a different module and I don't think Junie is going to edit into that. So we can take a quick look at the existing components. We can also see how much of the red code just disappeared from the open file here in the background. So this is the gallery. There's the action component, which we've used for the little toggle for the map earlier. And then here's the feedback form. So, you know, it does that.
Oh, very nice.
And there's a send button on it. And then, well, we have a lot of Kodi components.
Ah, amazing.
So we have Kodi in all sorts of styles and sizes here. As I mean, you would really expect the KotlinConf app to do.
If there's one app that really should.
You also have this little slider.
Whoa! Where's that?
That's
that
one
already
of my
used?
favorites. It's not used yet. It will be part of the schedule screen. I can show you where it goes. It goes. If we take a look at the schedule, I think it's up here. There. So the workshops are on a sideways scrollable thing. Unless you bookmark one of them, because then we hide the rest of them, because we assume that you know which one you're going to once you've bookmarked the workshop.
That makes sense.
That reminds me of something.
What could that possibly remind you of?
KotlinConf will have workshops.
Wow, that's incredible. Hey, wait a second. That's me.
That is you. Can you tell us about your workshop?
Sure. We're gonna do a whole bunch of coroutines for an entire day. We're pretty much gonna turn you into a coroutines expert. So no matter where you are in your coroutines journey, it's gonna be me together with Seva, who in large parts was also part of the creation of the coroutines library and the core library and ecosystem lead for Kotlin. So you'll be in very good hands, and we'll do a whole bunch of exciting things. There's even gonna be a little bit of composed multi-platform in there. So that might be fun. We'll see flows, just like we saw Junie, right, just a little bit ago. So there's gonna be a whole lot of cool things.
And we have a lot of other workshops as well. If you're looking at KMP stuff, we have this one, which is going to be like an advanced KMP workshop. Because we found that people complained that our KMP workshops are not advanced enough. Looks like everyone has the basics down. So now we're doing the advanced part, assuming that you have encountered the basics of KMP before. We also have server side, we have KTOR, we have a compose workshop, which is going to be for people who have seen KMP before, and
that's you.
It is me and Victor, who's the team lead for Compose Multiplatform. So we're gonna do, a bunch of like behind the scenes sort of like detailed info on how like all of this is being built and how it works. That should be a lot of fun. So again, this is for people who have done KMP and Jetpack Compose before, and wanna do all of this together. And learn about how it works on different platforms. And again, we have a lot of different fun workshops, so make sure you check all of those out. I'm gonna come back to the schedule screen because I could see that it actually compiled. Like we had a valid hot reload, and Junie is actually not done yet, but we have a thing that's asking us how the talk was.
Okay, and it has 3 Cody faces.
I'm gonna say it was a good one.
Whoa!
Huh.
Gorgeous. I mean, that looks pretty close. Oh, that's such a cute little, like, toggle. So that's also, like, wired together.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 small Cody faces that are here now, that's something that like Junie now came up with, right? That's not part of the like larger component.
It's so these exist as separate components. It's not part of the larger component.
Okay, yes, exactly.
I think the same thing is the same thing on this screen. It's not. I could have sworn it was somewhere. Oh, here it is. So for talks that are in the past, this kind of setup exists on the schedule list. So it pretty much found that we used this same pattern where we had this bottom component, which again is a single thing. And then we used, we built this this header above it manually, and it copied that header from the previous screen.
Okay.
Which is not exactly what we want on this one, but it's close. And once we fix all the imports here, I think resources are one of the most annoying things here for Junie to work with.
I think that's something that we can teach it over time.
Yeah. And again, we have, like this, this code is full of patterns like this where we need named imports to work with resources because they're conflicting with each other. And we have these chained imports along the way where you have to make sure you're importing everything along the chain from the same package. I can see what Junie's fighting with. It makes a lot of sense. If we didn't have the app so nicely modularized, this would be a lot easier. So maybe there's a lesson in there. Oh, actually, we're almost in the green. We just have like one bad import left. Everything else was fixed. All right. Just the one import.
One more res.
We can probably figure that out. So I would like to ask Junie next, once it's done with fixing the imports, to make these Codys larger. Like, see if it can find another Cody component, which I don't know where the design was anymore. Talk page. These ones. So if it could find the larger Codys. Because right now we're using... Where's the code for this? Cody icon small. That's quite specific. So we probably have Cody icon large. That's almost certainly what we're looking for. And that should be a relatively easy swap, right?
Seems like it.
Once we know what the small Cody is. Oh, we have something duplicated here in the state handling, but we're almost done. We're very close to having. Ah, there it is. We're in the green. Does Junie want to do anything else? Yeah, still. Oh, wait a minute.
Now you can really vote. Or you can be extra ambiguous. No, well, you can't be ambiguous. Never mind. You still gotta stick with your vote.
I bet this will be removed.
At some point in the process, it certainly will. Unless, you know, you're watching a VOD of this stream because
Here
you
you
were
go.
wondering, okay. I didn't even get to finish my bit.
Sorry, do your bet. We're gonna pretend that there's
Well,
still two of them.
it's gone now. It's over. I was really thinking maybe you're like at KotlinConf and you're like, why is there 2 of these voting screens? What's going on? And then, you know, you're like digging into the code, and in the code there's just like a comment that has a link to this VOD at this timestamp. Anyway, a man can dream. Okay, a man can dream.
Okay, we're just gonna keep going immediately, and I'll tell Junie to use the larger Cody icons. Oh, quick commit. So that we'll see the diff. We have a plan. Yeah. Replace Cody icon small with Cody icon large. That is the plan.
That's the plan.
Oh, missing parameter. They have different parameters. Check cody.kt to understand the correct parameters. We have updated the plan. Mm-hmm. I wonder why they have different parameters.
I was about to say.
This
What
is
would you
the part.
possibly tell Cody only when it's large?
This is the part where I don't have the excuse that I haven't seen this code, because this part is what I actually wrote. So, Cody icon small has an emotion, a selection state, onClick, and a modifier. Emotion, selection state. Oh, the large ones are not clickable? That's a weird
Interesting.
oversight by me. Why would I not have a click handler on the large ones? Did I think they would be just decorations somewhere? That's quite interesting. Okay. I feel
They
like
are
you can't
larger.
be disappointed at the talks anymore. I just...
Ah.
Huh. Okay. How did this
Like,
happen?
gets rid of the least important one first. That makes sense.
How did this happen? But wait, why? Oh, okay. Okay, so we started using the large one, realized that it's not clickable. We reverted to the small one and just made it physically larger. I can see that.
I mean, yeah. I feel like this one's kind of on you.
I'm just gonna ask it to also.
Well,
just...
while Junie's doing that, give me a quick find usages on that Cody component, because I'd just like to understand where that large Cody.
I don't think it's used anywhere. Yeah, this is just a preview in the same file. Oh, look, it's now clickable.
Nice. Oh, but I suppose at the very least it should also fix the gallery, right? Like the gallery would have to. Okay, well, all right, yeah.
It like in the same step, it already adjusted the preview code so that it doesn't break. Yes.
Okay, great. Never mind. I'm sorry.
And now it says it's done. And okay, we have 3 codes. We have sizing problems, but this should also be under the how was the talk title. So let's continue there. So put the 3 Cody faces in a row under the how was the talk question. That question should be centered above the Cody faces.
Should it? Okay, no, all right. I guess I don't get to do my input.
No, you can. What do you want to follow up with?
I just like, you know, it should be in like a card type thing. That's kind of what it looks like to me, like some sort of.
That's true.
Or a container of some sort.
Well, we'll get there.
With a subtle color.
Like
I don't
alpha 0.2.
I was about to say, like, what's the? Is this transparent? Oof, I mean,
this is a pretty good edit.
Click it. Okay, I'm convinced. Can you unclick it if you click happy again? Does okay, nice.
I assume we don't need the like your feedback thing. Oh, that should appear below. That's a very fun thing to have Junie fix. So the title always stays, but once it's clicked, we need to have that action added below.
Oh,
and then
okay.
we don't want to open it by default like it's doing now, which it copied from the other screen, and we want it to be closed by default, only open with the action.
Really?
Well, that's what this looks like from the design. Right? Like when you tap one of them, the detailed feedback thing appears, and then you have to still open it, apparently.
Wonder if you would get more feedback if you open it by default.
Well, that's what you do on the other screen. So maybe we can just leave it as is. Until it gets a review and someone catches that. Oh, wait. Now this disappears. That's definitely not correct. Okay, let's fix that. When a Cody face is clicked on the talk details screen, don't make the Cody faces disappear.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that. I was thinking for a moment, but yeah.
It's about as natural language of a description as it gets. And at some point, maybe you can throw in that container situation that I described.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah. Just shout at me when this stuff is done.
I mean, we could just interrupt Junie, but it's already working, so.
Let him cook. Speaking of KotlinConf, I'm getting email updates about the trip being organized, and I legitimately don't remember if I booked anything for it yet. Wait, I think I haven't. Might be time to do that very soon. That's exciting. That's always a good time. Hey, on the positive side, I don't have to think about whether I need to be there a day early this year. Because last year...
you have a workshop.
Yeah. Last year we were trying to figure out if I need to be there early or not, but this year there's no question. Okay, this works quite well. I want to do one small adjustment. So if
put it in a container.
if a Cody face is selected, always show the your feedback button. Because right now it hides it. Like if
you're not even gonna tack on my request at the end there. Okay, I see how it is. I'll run my own Junie.
with card containers.
Oh, you bet.
Hey, it worked.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
So as long as any emotion is selected, that part is always visible. I mean,
I'm
again,
sorry. Yeah, good.
we stopped looking at the code here. But how does this work? It's pretty straightforward.
It is pretty straightforward. I do. But by the way, here's what I love. Because again, we kind of didn't do anything about that. It also used resources for the strings. It didn't just hard code the strings.
Oh.
So that's cool.
Okay. These
Like
are
you're
these
discovering
are
a lot
existing,
about yourself.
these are these are existing resources from the UI components module, and it found those. I was wondering if it edited into the strings file now, or if we did that like a couple commits ago, but so these string resources already existed and it reused them.
That's good because we didn't tell it about that either. We just said it should say your feedback.
Yeah, it just happened to be there. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
this feedback thing should be in a card
Thank you.
with rounded corners.
Keep in mind that we don't have Material 3 design. Is what I probably would have tacked onto that one, but we'll see how it goes.
You think it'll go for a
Right.
material card?
I mean, you have a. I mean, I assume you have something similar already somewhere else in this entire code base.
Not something called a card. We have a lot of
Well,
rounded things in the code base. Nothing that's
Junie
called a
is
card.
finding that out right now. You have
Searching
something.
for
It's called a.
card.
It's called a talk. It's called a talk card. So
I have no idea what that is. Oh, it must be this actually. Like this maybe a talk card.
I mean, it's
Looks
kind of
like
that
one.
has rounded corners.
Check that out. I think that's a compliment.
Nice. Well,
This card might be a bit too small for us.
I mean, what's to say?
It's a very fun like totem pole of Cody's though.
Yeah, it's the Codys of Hanoi.
Yes. Oh. Okay. We're getting there. I really wanted to add a background to it. Wonder if we're gonna get one. Oh, the question is outside of the card. I've just realized.
I like how at this point the stream is essentially us shoutcasting Junie. Like we're checking the play-by-plays, we're going into the slow-mo, we're checking the git diff to see what has happened. We're doing like the little analyst table. While things are happening, you know, we're hitting the find usages to see like how tall of an order this task might be. Okay.
It was successfully added. Wow. Okay.
What'd you ask for specifically? No. Let's review. What was your original prompt? I mean,
yeah, I can see how we got here.
yeah, that seems all right to me.
Okay, so this card should encompass the entire feedback feature within the talk detail page.
Also background, I think.
And give it a background.
While you're at it. I love the little exclamation mark. So much vigor. Also, I think the spacing. I actually don't know. What is the correct spacing for a widescreen? Is it supposed to be like this? Or the outside Cody supposed to be further to the outside? Like.
Yeah, I think they should be further out.
This does look kind of aesthetically.
Starts looking weird if you make it too large, but the entire thing does. I think eventually we'll have to do some kind of max width on the entire app, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, you know,
but then
if you want to go like ultra wide.
Sure. So like, obviously, almost all of the usage of this app is going to be on mobile because it's going to be people running around the conference. So that's where we'll start.
You're telling me a conference venue is not like a place where people would use large screen devices?
Well, maybe not an ultra wide screen.
I mean, I didn't check CES, but maybe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like a foldable that like folds out like 8 times. Like
yeah,
one there,
like,
a rollable. Yeah, a rollable.
Yeah. A
rollable,
rollable, yes. Just like do one more. Loop.
Yep, exactly. It's like I forgot the brand of the chewing gum. You know, the one that comes as like a large spiral.
Yeah, we just need to add some padding to the just like the nav icons. We could bring a bit closer in, and it's just some like max width here. Still looks pretty good. It's just a nice design. Oh look, more of the things are within the card, and the card has a background. Actually, we're done.
The previously centered text kind of wandered into the middle, but apart from that, this looks great.
Oh, I didn't do a follow-up. Please put the text back in the center.
I mean, you can just double click on your recents and you can just continue from there.
Oh, okay. Can I just go in here and follow up? Yep.
Nice.
That makes more sense. So we obviously have like some padding stuff to fix, I think, but that really is fiddling.
I don't know.
So
I mean, again,
like, this feedback box should be like full width and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But these are small changes.
It's quite aesthetically pleasing on the large screen at the very least. Like having a little room to breathe. Aww.
Yeah. Oh, it's back in the middle. Excellent. Wait, the design is wrong. Found a bug.
Now what do we do? Do we
we
go strictly by spec?
Yes. Obviously. Sad Cody, happy Cody, confused Cody. Okay.
Can you make Cody do a loop when you click? Okay, I'm sorry. I have intrusive thoughts.
Sorry, a loop?
Yeah, like when you click him, he just does like a 360, like as like gets tapped, rather than just like turns the color. Anyway, I'm just.
Oh yeah. When Cody faces.
You want to commit before that? Like have an actual thing that you can revert back in case my great idea doesn't make it into production.
When a Cody face is clicked, make it spin 360 degrees as it gets selected. How hard could it be?
I mean, you know. We'll state here. We'll click there. Little wiring together. Maybe a suspendable function. Who knows?
Oh, is the feedback thing animated? Oh, it's not animated. That should also be animated. The little arrow.
Oh,
It should flip around.
I should also do a 360. So that it points up again.
Yes, definitely. Wait, is this one this one is also not animated. Those are easy fixes.
Isn't that actually is that a limitation of the action component itself, or is that the responsibility of whoever implements this?
It's up to you as you're implementing it, because not all actions are these sorts of toggles.
Okay.
Like it could be an action that just does one thing and it doesn't toggle back and forth. Like a send action doesn't need to rotate the icon.
Well, Junie says it's done. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty darn close. Don't unrotate the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, only rotate the Cody that was newly selected, not the one that's getting unselected. Actually, this is going to be the more interesting diff. That's the diff I want to look at. Looking at the thing, apparently we're using a graphics layer, but this is just another reminder that we don't actually necessarily have to check the code, at least not immediately.
If I had to, it's kind of interesting because if I had to do this, I'd probably just like snap it to the state, like just snap it back to 0.
Oh, now we have a was selected state within the Cody. Well, now none of them spin. Too far. Start again. That just takes us out of the entire thing. That's my bad. Okay, maybe not rotating Codys.
Wow.
Okay.
Expect an angry pull request later this night.
Please. Yes, please. So should we try to do like the architecture refactoring?
I would love
view
to.
Models.
I would love to try a little bit of that. I think that would be very exciting.
Okay, let's try this very broadly. So again, the thing we want to touch here is the nav host setup. And
let me ask you this first. Like, how far? Because I want to understand it before you just send it off.
Mm-hmm.
How far? Like, what's the game plan here? You wanna throw dependency injection in there like right from the get go? You just want to use constructor injection from the start?
So the thing is,
do you have coin?
We do not.
Okay.
Well, as a first step, so we have one screen that has something that's close to the correct setup. So if we look at the schedule screen, this still injects the service like this, like it just passes it in from the nav host, like the big entry point, but then it puts that into a view model. Like we're using the view model API here. It would be nice if we could just remove this parameter, and then this was just injected with coin.
Okay.
I think that's what we should do first. That's a good first step. I don't know if we can just add coin as a dependency, but I guess we can try.
It's gonna be this one's gonna be. I mean, we can try, but this one's gonna be tricky because I think
it's gonna
coin
be an
is gonna
version,
need
right?
Well, that might be one part, but the other part is that for compose, I believe we also need a specific artifacts, right? Like the compose integrations, which is like coin compose view model navigation and coin compose view model.
Okay, let's try. Let's start with this.
Unfortunately, at this point, Junie can't browse the web, in the classic sense. I wonder if we could just throw a dump of the entire coin documentation into one of the directories.
Let's see what Junie does by default at the current moment.
I'm going in the meantime. I'm going to craft something deranged on my screen, and then we'll see if maybe we can marry these things together.
We've added a dependency. Oh, actually, so Junie triggered a Gradle sync. I want to highlight that. It edited the version catalog, and now it's doing a Gradle sync so that we re-import the project. The Gradle sync is going to take a while. I guess we're downloading coin now. Oh, and again, yeah, we have the app currently running, so we'll see how bot reload deals with this. Downloads are done. Oh, okay. So we'll have to take over here because Junie doesn't know about the latest versions of Coin. It stumbled into a version that doesn't have WASM support yet. So obviously that's gonna cause some trouble for us. So we can just grab the latest version of Coin. Are you crafting something that does exactly like this? Should we run that instead of me fixing the version, or?
Well, not necessarily. You
Okay.
can fix that version, but my idea was just, hold on, give me like another 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Just
That we're gonna need this for the Gradle sync. No worries. Okay, so we have an up-to-date version of Coin now, which will work with the WASM. So now the Gradle sync actually completes. And now it would be good to add like a basic setup. Okay, create a basic Coin setup, which includes the conf service as a singleton. Let's see if we can do that. That seems like a reasonable task. Oh, I didn't check if the Coin dependency is actually like imported into the module correctly and stuff like that, but I guess we'll find out. Seems like it is. It's added to common main dependencies. That looks correct. Okay, so create a Coin module file. Add Coin dependency if missing. Create DI package. Create app module.kt. That seems like a very, very reasonable way to do that. So I guess we're gonna do that somewhere around here. Yep, DI app module. That's a Coin module, and we're trying to do both the conference service and the application context.
Okay.
Is this a built-in Coin thing? Oh no! Oh, this is okay. This is something
an Android thing.
No, it's something specific in our app. It's a expect class which actuals into the context on Android, and it's actuals into blank classes on every other platform.
So I also just I dropped you a little file just for your convenience, perhaps in case we want to augment any kind of information for Junie.
Okay.
It's very little. It's 30 markdown files in total. So not enormous.
I think we're good with Coin. The problem is going to be our project specific setup with this.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to see that view model factory function. Once it has figured that part out, I'm also convinced.
I didn't ask for that yet. I said basic Coin setup for now. Well, I mean, we'll see what.
You're looking at someone who is, or at something that is eager to wire things together with services and the like.
Sure. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So we have the conference service. I guess this is the application context. That's not gonna just appear from. I mean, this would be a good time for us to understand this setup. Okay. So the way that this works is that we, on each platform, we pass in the application context into the app composable, and that's where we were passing it into the conference service constructor. So again, on Android, this context would actually contain the Android context, and on everything else, this would just be a dummy value. I think So there's again lots of ways to do this. Like we could have separate separate coin modules for each platform, where most of them provide empty modules, but the Android one provides the context. We have different options of working around this difference, where only Android needs this extra dependency. We could also initialize coin right here in the app function and make sure that we pass in this context to it. So far, we added the dependency. Oh, we have an Android module, which is not used anywhere, but it's able to provide the application context. Oh, this actually includes two things. It also has the notification icon in it for Android. And then we have an initCoin function. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. So there's the common module, which has just the service in it, and then whatever each platform passes in when calling initCoin is just added to the graph. So for example, the Android code could call initCoin at some point and pass in the Android module.
Okay.
But then all other platforms would also have to do this. This is getting a bit complicated, which is unavoidable here. So like I'm not saying this is overly complicated. We do actually need to account for the platform differences somewhere.
Can I just ask what you're using this for? Like, do you know what the Android specific stuff is used for?
I do not, but we can check. So we can go to the. Wait, where's the Android one?
I think it's the very bottom one.
Oh, okay. So application, it eventually gets used for storage and notifications. Like just
Okay,
just for accessing system resources. I think all of that in the application should eventually be cleaned up, because again, things I don't know how they work. It's like the bottom like data layer wiring of the app. And it could use some cleanup. But for now, it would be best to just provide this into the graph and have the service still included and use it as it has been.
Okay.
Let me think here for a moment. So.
Also, Daniel asks, can Junie help modularize the project? Which is an exciting question. I did actually try this. Like I had a version of like a web view that I wanted to have on additional platforms. And for that, the first step was to kind of extract it out into a separate module. That worked. I will be upfront here and say that it was already a multi-module project. So that's like, it did not turn a single module into a multi-module and then went from like multi-module to like changing things up. So what I've seen so far, it can certainly do some of the basic tasks of like grabbing some related functionality, especially if it's obvious related functionality, moving that into a separate thing, like running a Gradle import, seeing that a bunch of dependencies are missing, add those dependencies based on like what was in the other part of the application, rerun a couple of times until that builds, or until like the tests that you have that it also moved along, that those work as well. So those things are indeed possible. That would be a really nice thing to also show off at some point, though. I don't think we're going to have time for that today. I'm writing that down as an idea, though. Because that is one of those tasks which, you know, you gotta do. Especially as your app grows. It's not the most exciting or fun thing. So, the perfect thing to delegate. So you can focus on, like, actually building cool stuff.
So, in the meantime, I've asked Junie to somehow get this context into my dependency graph, because that's what I ultimately want. Like once the app function is called, which is already being called with this parameter, right? Like it's that wiring is already done on all of the platforms, because that's how the app currently works. I don't want to change that part. I just want that to be dropped into the coin graph so that we don't need to pass this down, but it goes through coin from here. And
sorry, place the context. Let me see if I can place the context that the app function receives into the coin dependency graph. Use the contents of the coin reference folder. Oh, to figure out how to best set up coinless compose app. Interesting. What's yeah, sorry, I kind of talked over you there. I feel like you had a whole story planned.
Yeah, and the coin reference folder here is the markdown files that you sent me. So this is just the coin website documentation, I assume.
Yes, it's literally just like the insert coin.io. It's all on GitHub, so I just quickly grab those files, put them in here in a format that should be easy enough for Junie to read.
Very cool.
Is it actually part of the plan?
It did look at them. It started with an ls on coin reference. Check dependencies. Create modules. Coininit.kt. I don't fully see what it wants to do yet, but we'll see. I think there's some kind of very cool helper in the most recent version where you can just do like coin application and wrap the entire thing.
Really?
And I think you can probably pass in initial dependencies into that, or like modules into that. Again, I don't know the exact API, but we can search for it. Coin application. Yeah, I think that's it. So something like this. Does it? Okay, that's not quite what I was looking for. I think there's maybe like a composable version of this or something.
Browsing the blog post right now. Start coin with includes. Oh, coin multi-platform application is the entry point. Coin 4.1.
4.1?
Yes.
That's
I don't
gonna
even
be
know
a
if
problem.
I don't know if that's even out yet. Yeah.
Oh wait, we have 2 coin versions. Uh-oh.
That might be tricky.
Why do we have so many coin versions? .1 doesn't exist.
As I said, that part might still be unreleased.
Okay, this might actually be tricky. Junie did something. I'm gonna run the app. Oh, that's the gallery. Okay, I'm gonna stop all the apps we have. And run hopefully the correct one. I think we broke it.
I like the minimalist approach that you're taking in this new version.
Thank you. Okay. So we have... Oh, initcoin. Actually, this looks very good. Like, we should be calling into initcoin and passing in the context. That sounds nice. And we're doing what? We have these 2 modules. The platform modules are an expect val, and then on Android, that's the Android module, which is empty. And otherwise, we do coin.apply, and as we get the application context, I don't know what this API is. I kind of just want to fix this by hand at this point.
That's okay.
Because I think I can just create a module.
Again, I mean, if we're like realistic, like most likely the architecture is something that, you know, you should be opinionated about, and the way that your entry points are designed and the way that your information flows. Like, in most scenarios, that is not something that you would just like outsource on its most basic level. So, you know, I feel like putting something like making some adjustments here, make sure it's actually the flow of data and services that you want, makes sense.
Okay, still doesn't work. Now it's getting interesting. So we have the app module. The app module. Wait, who's providing the service? Okay, again, just like struggling with space here. App.kt. We're injecting the service here. And when we initialize coin, we have the app module and we have this new module that I've just created, which just provides the context. And what the app module does is this coin? Sorry, it is coin. So it's trying to grab an application context, but that's... I mean, I'm already providing that in the other place. We're not providing the service anywhere. I think we can simplify a bunch of this, after all. Like we could do the conference service here and just do a get. Oh, and it needs the endpoint. I don't know where that was. Oh, there we go. It's a constant. So I think that should work. It doesn't.
Interesting.
What am I missing? Android module we don't really need. I feel like this should work. So we're calling start coin. Oh, wait. When are we calling this? We're calling this as part of the composition. That's not amazing. I mean, for one, we keep calling this over and over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing we could do is call this before calling into the compose code.
On each
Another
platform.
thing we could do is, yes, another thing we could try getting away with is the launched effect unit, which is kind of never a good idea, but maybe it is this time. And the big question is, are we getting the service here or not? Or actually, is there anything in the... Check that out. Where's the actual exception? Entry point, invoke, lambda, get.
Coin application
is not started.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's an ordering problem. Like this doesn't happen fast enough. And we start composing the rest of it and we're trying to grab things from coin already.
I would probably actually have to be moved into the entry point. The alternative is a much uglier hack, which is like calling an ensure started function actually as part of the composition.
So what about that new coin API?
In 4.1, it's called Coin Multi-Platform Application. That's the one. Time to move to the edge.
Because I think we can do that here, right? Something like this.
Something like that.
That's a long API name.
Well, thankfully, you only have to call it like once for the entire app.
Couldn't we name this like Coin KMP app?
Really. Oh, by the way, some nice notes here. Really like the music playing in the background. Is there a link? Also, thanks for the great Compose and Junie content. Thank you so much for checking in. There might be a link.
I can get you a link. Give me a second.
Oh.
I also really like the music. I chose this very quickly before the stream. Copy link. There we go. Now I just need to figure out how to navigate to the chat.
I mean, you could just drop it in my...
This is what we're listening to.
There you go.
Chip tunes. Okay, coin multi-platform application. Is this like opt-in? Does it have it has parameters? Okay. Configuration. Is that a lambda?
Oh, it's just a coin config.
I just create one? Yes. That's a lambda.
Well, yes, so.
And do I is this oh, I think I disabled like inlay hints because I was taking screenshots earlier. Lambdas Kotlin. Yes, that's what we need. So that's a coin application. That's also a coin application. There we go. I see what we're doing. So we're moving all of this init code up to here. Yes. So this, I think, should solve the ordering problem because it makes sure that before we enter the inside of the coin multi-platform app. Before we go in there,
that's a good move.
We are gonna make sure that the coin context is loaded up. Now I really want to... Oh, I should have waited for hot reload or checked the app. I can't believe it. It still doesn't work. Is coin difficult? What are we missing? App, entry point, invoke, coin context. No definition found for conference service.
And is there some sort of inherent hierarchy at play anywhere here? Like, does it not correctly infer that this is a conference service?
Is this not being used? Like...
I mean, I feel like it should be, right? Like, it's just a parameter.
It seems like this is very explicitly set up here. I don't think that type is gonna do it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's very strange. Wait. Okay. Check your modules configuration. Maybe add a qualifier. Okay.
See, I'm just seeing if I can find a nice test or something for this in the coin.
Libs coin Android. Probably don't need that. Not that it really matters. What could it possibly be? So we had the service here. And now we have that wrapped.
You use the coin configuration lowercase lambda function. I don't know if that exists, but can you check
Like
if it exists?
in the same spot?
Yeah, in the same spot.
Like literally this?
Yeah.
So it's a one character change.
Yeah.
No, that
Didn't fix it?
That's the same thing. But I am allowed to call module here. Like I am in the correct scope to set up a module. But then it like doesn't load. Okay, what does this do? It remembers. Hey, now it's a coin MP application. Interesting. So now it remembers something. I guess. It's gonna be a lot of wiring. I mean, it eventually calls start. Unremembered. Yes, unremembered. It calls start. And it just does start coin with the application. Let's see if this happens. I'm getting paranoid. I mean, this is cold. Is the debugger gonna populate stuff? I have no idea if we're supposed to be like easily able to inspect what coin has. I'm just trying to... that seems like it's looping. I was hoping to find an easy way to see like what dependencies are registered. Scope definitions, 0, root, okay. That doesn't seem worthwhile. But we did hit this. So we did initialize a coin object. And surely that configuration was passed in, right? Like we have... Yeah, we're creating a coin application here. We have the config. Oh no. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here and just restart. I just want to see our config like contain something. Okay, configuration. Yeah, we have the lambda. I guess it's all lazily created, so we're not gonna see it. And we would have to like keep diving into these things. Like coin application in it. I don't get it. What are we possibly missing here? Is there an example of this in the repo?
I'm looking. It's on the 4. Like all of this is on the 4.1 branch. Quick start. This has been updated like 3 months ago. It's not enough.
Config equals coin config.
Yeah, like this is what I was referring to in the very beginning.
But we have a config here and it has the service in it, but then we can't load the service. Oh wait. Is the other parameter wrong? Can we just add type arguments? No, this all seems to match. This doesn't help, right? Just adding explicit types on everything. Oh, there's a question about why we're not using Fleet. We are running Junie. Well, we were running Junie until we started manually debugging. And
yeah.
Wait, should we just give this to Junie?
I
don't know. I mean,
you could try. Yeah. I guess the question is how Junie's gonna validate whether it fixed it.
Yeah. Well, let's create a commit. And then just like give Junie the problem. I'm just interested in what happens.
Yeah.
Coin dependency injection error. That sure is what we're looking at here. For whatever reason. But yeah, I really feel like we're providing the correct thing here. And we're... Wait. Are we by any chance requesting coin in? Let's look at coin inject usages. It's just this one. So I think, yeah. I think we're still crashing on this one. But we're defining the service like right here. Oh, wait. Is this module? Is this not connected whatsoever to the outer lambda? Is this something I could just like create anywhere? Yes.
Oh, it's what? Add? I want to stop. Stop Junie. So here's a good thing. Okay? Let me try to pitch you a good thing on this. There's a really cool feature coming in Kotlin that's currently in design, which is called check return type. Which means if you have a lambda that, you know, that would just return you a value rather than, you know, actually be part of a DSL, this would give you a warning or an error. That would be really helpful.
Mm-hmm. It's
Junie
sure
still
would
running,
be.
or did you stop it already?
Ah, yes, I stopped it.
Okay. Right. We'll run that again. That looks like an app. You love to see it.
Wait, what?
That looks terrifying.
What was that? What has possibly happened? Is this a hot reload bug? How did that happen? Okay. So, where we were going with this was...
Can you just
View
scroll up for me
models.
for just 1 second? I gotta take a quick screenshot of just the offending of what we just fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's all I needed.
yeah. To get back to that, other than being upset about not realizing that for a solid half an hour. So yes, check return value would absolutely fix this. I also don't know why there isn't an overload of this that just takes the application as a receiver and attaches itself automatically.
That would be great.
I mean, obviously that's what I expected here. Anyway, okay. So use coin.
You want to commit your changes?
Use coin to
Classic coin moment.
inject a few.
Sorry, I'm just reading chat.
Thanks, chat. Use coin to inject the view model into the schedule screen. I don't know if that's the actual name of the screen. It is.
Close enough.
Yeah. Let's just see what that does.
Do you have the compose specific artifact for view model stuff added to the project? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I think.
So that's pretty.
Yes, we also have coin Android, which is unused. But yes, we have coin compose.
Sorry, isn't there a third one?
I mean, I bet we don't even need this like separately.
There's coin compose view model and coin compose view model navigation, but I guess we don't necessarily need the navigation integration. There are three. There's coin compose view model, and coin compose view model navigation.
We probably want coin compose view model navigation. Maybe we add that explicitly then. Is this
searches
on
for
the
coin model.
docs page?
It is, and
I
under
guess multi-platform.
yes, actually it's under compose.
Hmm.
Top one of the two under
Is it-
compose.
It's really not in multi-platform. I really wish that was in multi-platform. Oh, and there's two variants of this as well. Like these are the multi-platform ones, and these are just Android. Okay. So this is what we'll eventually need. Also, we crashed because we keep hot reloading coin. That's interesting. Are dependency changes like always gonna crash hot reload?
I'm guessing you might just want to switch like the development entry point and CoinKMP app order.
Maybe. I'm not sure about that part. Junie's done. Since we crashed it, I'm just gonna rerun the app. Does launch. The schedule loads. Okay. A new service.
Okay,
Coin inject.
it's a way of doing it.
I mean that was the exact objective. We don't have the exact right dependency. So we should use apparently coin compose view model navigation then. So let me just go into the build Gradle here and find coin compose view model navigation, right? I hope that's what I named it. Oh, I didn't change the name. View model navigation. And that I think should allow us to actually call coin view model, right? Or something like that.
So.
Oh, we can't see the sync progress. Look at it go though. Not the game engine.
Yeah, it's just called coin view model, and then in the module you would also define it with like a view model.
With yeah.
ESL. Thankfully, that's inside the module, so we can't really do that much wrong there. I hope.
Good. Yeah. So in here we can just. Is it Junie again? It's everything.
Oh, you know.
Oh, this is still the like performance thing. Okay. So we can do view model off, I think. I just put in the constructor, right? Is
That
this
looks
tied
right.
to something? It is.
It's either view model off or just view model with lambda and then calling the constructor.
Well,
Both
this
of those.
seems a lot fancier.
Yeah.
There
Very
we
nice,
go.
Very elegant.
Let's just remember that we also built this and this.
Gorgeous.
Okay, is there like a final task we want to give Junie? Do you have any like?
Well,
fun
first of
ideas?
all, I'd like for you to commit, and then I suppose now that there's like a very clear way of how all of this is defined, that's a lot of starts. Those can be ultra squashed. Well, I mean, now that like all the infrastructure is in place and you have one view model that's essentially like from that has the entire stack, I feel like we should have Junie do at least one more view model based on
Oh right.
Just
Mhm.
tell it like treat it the same as schedule view model. And do that for one other screen. Like
Generally, I think it would be like remove the dependency on service on the session screen and add a view model.
Yeah, we have two of these. Okay, so for any screens that take. Okay. So the thing is, these don't have view models, so it's not going to be the same pattern. But we can take one step at a time. Or
sorry, but why don't you just? I mean, for our Magnum, like I was gonna say, take one screen and turn that into a view model.
Yes, yes.
And
okay.
if that works fine, then like we can run it across the rest of the stuff.
Got you. So introduce a view model for the settings screen, which provides it access to data in the service. The service should not be passed as a parameter to the screen anymore. Instead, we should
screen composable, right? Or yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Instead, we should inject the view model into the screen using coin.
I'd mention where you've already done that. Okay. It might figure it out. But like, when you have a pattern you want someone to follow, you might as well like do that.
Yeah, let's say you're talking to a junior developer, just like
yeah.
You might want to point them to the correct example.
Let's see if Junie is. Junie might still just figure it out.
Find and examine the current screen. Create settings view model. Move logic in there. Add the service. Set up coin. Check if coin is set up. Move. Okay, that's gonna be a few steps. That's a good last thing to do.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's gonna try to move. So if we take a look at the settings screen, it does have a bunch of magic in it for the theme transitions, and then we have callbacks that propagate the theme and the notification settings updates upwards. It's using the current theme, which is that from the service? Current theme, yes, that's from the service. So that's something that should be like dropped down into the view model, ideally. What else is the service used for here? Oh, setting the theme also uses the service. So whenever this theme change callback is triggered from the UI, that also calls into the service. So basically, like these. Do I remember the shortcut? Oh, it. Well. By the time I tried to I did remember the shortcut. Let's establish this. I did know it's Command Shift F7 to do highlight usages in file, but I can't do that on the service anymore because the service isn't here anymore. So now we're highlighting the view model.
I mean, nice.
I mean the service parameter is just straight up gone from here, and we just have the view model instead injected with coin view model. And if we take a look at the app, it just has settings view model in the setup, and settings view model just depends on the service, exposes the theme the other way, and I don't know what that is. Is that still in progress? That's something that Junie wanted to do, but then kind of abandoned. Actually, that's a good note of feedback for Junie. It would be nice if it could check for newly added unused declarations, right? Like usually we don't want to have those unless we intentionally prepared a next step for something. So let's see if the settings screen still works. Let's see if these changes are correct. So settings, that seems pretty okay to me.
Yep.
That worked really well. Okay, so we do keep. Yeah, so there's something wrong with this and hot reload.
Okay. It's noted. It's noted down. We'll investigate.
There's something fiddly there. Anyhow, there is only like one logical thing to do at this point because this worked really well.
It's do all the other ones.
Well, not all the other ones because
okay.
The
I guess there's two logical things.
okay, you know what?
Did you commit? You might want to commit.
Why are you so pessimistic about this follow-up?
I'm not. I like seeing a clean Git diff. Like I like navigating things on a clean slate. That's all.
I really hope this helps the prompt.
I mean, I think it activates the like confidence neurons. So that makes sense. It's like okay, and it's like I'll take that. We take
pat on the
okays.
head.
Yeah.
Good call.
All screens that directly use conference service. That is a long plan.
Okay, create main view model. Update main screen. All of this is about main screen. So the thing is, the main screen works differently than the rest because it's more complex. And I actually don't know if it should have a view model per se. So if you look at main screen, it actually has an embedded nav host.
Okay.
Because this is the 4 top level destinations in the app. So this nav host navigates between those 4. And in here, the way we use the service is that the speakers, which should really be called as which should really be called the speaker screen, is what needs info from the view model. I think so far none of the other screens depend on it directly. From the service, I mean. So here, for example, I would rather not have a main view model on this level, right? I would want to have a view model within this screen, just injected directly into the speaker screen instead of being injected here into the containing screen and then passed down.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Junie could figure that out, though.
I mean, you can always, if you don't want it like finishing the current task, you can always hit stop and clarify.
No, I mean, again, like, I think that would be easy to do. The more interesting part is there was the one other screen that used the service, which is session screen. And that's, again, well, it it uses the service in very weird ways because we're passing it in, but we're also passing in something from the service already. And we're also taking a callback that calls into the service. So we're like, we're handling the service here, but we're also giving the screen the service. It's kind of confusing. So I really hope that it can replace this with a view model and just channel all of these things straight into the view model and into the service through that. Is this the current plan? This plan has changed a lot.
Yeah. I think it kind of like breaks it down into smaller parts.
But I mean, this plan is, yeah, it's being entirely rewritten as it's going around and fixing things.
As plans are supposed to be when they collide with reality.
Well, as they collide with my code, you mean?
I mean, if your code's the reality.
Mm-hmm. Oh, parameters off. That's interesting. Oh, I guess the view model needs a parameter here. Well, I mean, okay, that's interesting. I didn't even know that Coin has an API for this. But apparently we just have a session ID here. And I guess you can provide that at runtime by doing this. I learned something today. Assuming that this is gonna work. What do we have here? We're juggling the session object. Where did that go? Session. Is that just current session?
Updated to use current session. Okay. Or just a couple more. It's a long file.
Mm-hmm. It was just current session.
Nope.
Hey, I guessed it. Oh, we don't have the app running anymore. That's a shame. And now we're in the green. Want to do anything else? I mean, this looks great. Again, like we're only propagating the on-back event now to the call site. The call site is green as well, and everything else is going into the view model. Ah, let me do the thing. Bam. Look at those highlighted usages. So we're taking the current session, and then when the button is tapped, we're toggling the favorite. And we have the feedback integration, which also calls into the view model. And of course, let's not forget.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah.
So yeah, this has the service injected. Exposes. Oh, get session flow. Is that the thing we just created? It is, right? We created that today. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we have this toggle. Oh yes, I wanted to change this. I remember this. The service doesn't let you tell it like, is this going to be favorited or not? The only API it offers is just toggle it.
Oh, okay. And yeah, that makes
That
sense.
would be
You
so
probably
easy to rewrite to Junie. Anyway. Oh, it's using view model scope for all of this, by the way.
Yeah, I already wanted to mention, like, I feel like we're kind of already taking a lot of this stuff for granted, but again, like,
Yeah.
we're building a multi-platform application using Compose APIs, using the view models and lifecycle APIs that are already established on Android. You could just use here as well, and like all the primitives and all the architecture and the coin for dependency injection and what have you, that all just works on multi-platform as well. As a developer, this is a really, really nice experience.
We even have this mapping thing here because we have some enums in the UI from the Kodi stuff that I made up.
Nice. With that.
And then we need to map that to whatever the service works with. Which screen was this? Session? Is that the individual session?
I believe so.
I guess it was this screen, right?
Yep.
With like these.
Mark. Mm-hmm.
We should be able to. So let's do toggle favorite, and there is like an attach action here, right? Oh, I didn't run into debug. Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
I have a question, which is, where does it scope the view model to when using a bottom nav with a nested nav host? Would it pick the root nav host as store owner?
Depends on which screen. I think it would just pick the closest one. Unless you do something to explicitly prevent that. So I think... So at the top level, we have a bunch of screens. One of them is the main screen, which contains all of this. Like all four of these are in the nested graph.
I'm
And
not
then
sure
if I
what
go to...
you're That's not visible.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes. So these 4 destinations are all within the nested graph, right? All of this is just within the main screen. And when I do something like about the app, that takes us away from the main screen and into a different top level nav graph destination. I think the view models for these 4 screens, although I don't think any of them has one, but let's say that, like, let's assume that they had view models. I think these view models would just be scoped to the small nav graph, like the nested nav graph. Which, I mean, and then the tricky part, of course, is I don't think this ever goes off of our backstack, right? Like, we always have this screen on the backstack.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, we don't have it at the beginning when we're going through the onboarding steps. But other than that, once we're inside the app, we always have this in the backstack, so I don't think the view models here ever get cleared. I bet there's an API to make it scope to the outer thing. Can you take a note of that? I wanna just look that up later.
Sure.
That's a good question. Oh, and of course we're using coin here specifically. So if we wanted to scope anything to the top nav graph, yeah, we can look into that later. Anyway, I think we made good progress with that.
Great.
And yeah, we can probably wrap it up there. So let's do just like the shoutouts to the things that were involved here again. KotlinConf is involved. KotlinConf is coming back in May. Grab your tickets, grab your workshop tickets. See you there. We're gonna do workshops. We're gonna do booth duty, most likely. We're gonna do a lot of things at KotlinConf, realistically. So really looking forward to being back in Copenhagen this year. And the other thing is, check out Junie. Check out the website, join the waitlist. And yeah.
Check out Compose Hot Reload while you're at it. Drop 1 level lower. Check out Compose Multi-Platform. Drop 1 level lower. Check out Kotlin Multi-Platform. There's a lot of cool stuff to be learned. Yeah, Compose Hot Reload is ready for you to try. The latest, look at that, absolute fire. The latest beta release of Kotlin 2.1.20, Kotlin 2.1.20 Beta 2, now actually has all the patches included right in the on the language level, so it's easier to set up than ever before. You can pretty much just follow the steps that are in the README. And as long as you're on the latest version of Kotlin, you can just try and use Compose Hot Reload. It's a very, very nice experience. You've seen it. You've seen it for the last couple hours. How things change and how much faster, and also just like how easy it makes to iterate. You know, you build something, you look at it, you don't like it, you change it. So you know your thoughts move onto or into Compose code much more quickly.
Yeah. And yeah, so previously, just for context, like previously you had to have a custom version of the Kotlin plugin and the Kotlin compiler essentially. So now all of the patches that the custom version was being used for are merged, and they're at least in a beta release, and we look forward to seeing 2.1.20 as just a stable release, so that Compose Hot Reload becomes a very ordinary and boring, and it's just a simple plugin you add, which is gonna be so nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be delightful. Yeah, this is great. I really enjoyed this, and we built a whole lot of stuff with the help of Junie here, which was quite cool. Again, especially a lot of the things that we did that were kind of like mechanical changes ish. It was really good to like outsource those, right? Like we have pretty good ideas of what it means to move things into a view model. It's just like a bunch of typing that we would otherwise have had to do. So again, we could focus on like, you know, making sure the app looks and feels exactly the way we wanted it to, which is nice.
A quick pro tip here. for just using the git login to IntelliJ. We made all these commits. All of them change 1 or 2 files, right? Well, what if
Sure
we
do.
just select all of them?
Whoa!
That's everything
We
we
can
did today.
Yeah, we can see our impact across the entire code base. Very nice. Look at that. Looks like we touched most of what's in there.
We really didn't use the guidelines. We should get back to that next time. We
I
should
feel like-
think a bit more about
yeah.
it.
Well, we'll do something about that next time. It's gonna be awesome.
Finally fix my Kodi component.
Hey.
That's my favorite change. All right, let's wrap it up here. Thanks again so much for tuning in. See you next time. We're likely to, at some point, do more of this, I think.
Oh, of course.
No schedule or anything that we would commit to, but we'll be back here or there.
Yeah, there's also other places you can check out where you might see our faces, like the Kotlin YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kotlin, where we also have videos that came out semi-recently. There's more stuff coming out there. So make sure you follow us here. Make sure you follow us like wherever else you might find us. And yeah, I guess have a wonderful Kotlin.
Bye.